Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're doing something a little different, something we thought was really important. We're
Yeah.
dedicating this whole deep dive to the May 2025 forecast for Sagittarius. And it's from someone we both know incredibly well
Mm.
and whose insights, honestly, have consistently just blown us away.
Mm,
The remarkable Lorenzo.
absolutely. For those of you maybe less familiar, Lorenzo is, well, he's an astrologer, a tarot reader, and frankly, someone with a truly unique perspective.
He really is.
We've both known him quite a while, and his guidance, it's been genuinely transformative for us. So when we saw this latest forecast,
Yeah.
wow, we knew we had to bring it to you exactly as he wrote it.
Exactly. So yeah, we're setting aside our usual format, no multiple
Yeah.
sources today.
Right.
This entire deep dive is Lorenzo's complete May 2025 forecast for SAG, word for word. No summaries, nothing left out.
We just trust his vision that much. There's real value in getting it straight from him.
Totally. And the title he gave it is so powerful. The Revelation of the Mirror. Sagittarius breaks the spell of self-deception and redefines love, purpose, and voice.
Wow. Yeah. And his core idea is that May 2025 is like a deeply personal moment for Sagittarius,
Yeah.
a soul's direct confrontation with its own reflection.
It's about really seeing what's there, isn't it? Without the usual filters.
Exactly. No more stories we tell ourselves.
Okay, let's dive right in then. Week 1, which Lorenzo calls the Shadow Contracts Break Open. This runs April 28th to May 5th.
Mm-hmm.
He kicks off mentioning the new moon in Taurus on April 28th. That's in the 8th house for SAG, often about, deep transformation, shared stuff.
Right. Intense energy there.
And Lorenzo points out it's making these challenging angles, squares, with Mars in Leo in the 9th. That's beliefs, journeys. Pluto in Aquarius in the 3rd, which is communication, the mind. And Lilith and Scorpio way back in the 12th, the subconscious. That's a lot crossing paths.
It really is. And knowing Lorenzo, his interpretation is usually spot on. He sees this as a profound psychological and spiritual purge, like a cleanse.
Okay.
He says it's a crucial time for Sagittarius to face what they might have been, sort of spiritualizing, using spiritual talk to avoid dealing with really concrete stuff.
Like what kinds of things?
Well, he mentions money issues, the pain of betrayal, even things around sex, debt, loss. It's like a demand for a real reckoning with all that.
He just gets straight to the heart of it, doesn't he? He actually writes, and this really hit me, this is the death of the I'm fine Sagittarian lie.
Oof. Yeah, it's like he sees right through it.
Totally.
And he also flags Pluto turning retrograde in the 3rd house on May 5th. Retrogrades often mean that energy turns inward, right? So Lorenzo's take, and it fits, is that the mind itself could become a kind of battleground. The way Sagittarians think, speak, write, share their truth, he believes it has to evolve authentically now, or it could just collapse under the pressure.
Wow. Okay, let's move into week 2 then, May 6th to 13th. Lorenzo titles this, Behind the Wisdom, the Grief Surfaces. He starts with Mercury in Taurus squaring Pluto.
Right. Mercury is mind, communication. Pluto is that deep, intense transformation. A square means tension.
So what does he see there?
Lorenzo sees this as a clash, like the logical mind wanting order clashing with these deep, maybe chaotic emotions coming up. He even suggests some sags might try to bury themselves in work to avoid it all.
The classic avoidance tactic.
Exactly. But he warns it'll probably just lead to burnout, and that burnout will force those buried issues right out into the open anyway. You can't outrun it.
Makes sense. And then, May 13th, there's a full moon in Scorpio. That's in the 12th house again, that hidden zone.
Full moons bring culmination, right?
Yeah.
And the 12th is deep stuff. Lorenzo notes this moon makes a nice angle, a trine, to Saturn and the North Node in Pisces in the 4th house. That's home, roots, karma.
Okay.
But it's also opposing Uranus in the 6th house, daily life, health. So it's complex.
So how does he read that overall picture?
He sees it as a powerful release, like an exorcism almost. He thinks it'll bring up suppressed grief, maybe even inherited family trauma, just this deep spiritual exhaustion.
Wow.
And the key thing, and this is pure Lorenzo, is that the healing isn't in fixing it, it's in just feeling it, letting it wash over you.
He puts it so directly. He says, this is your emotional baptism. Don't avoid it. Let the tears, the isolation, and the awakening come. They are your soul cleansing your future path.
Yeah, it's such a powerful image, isn't it? An emotional baptism.
It really is. Okay, week 3, May 14th to 20th. Love isn't a lesson. It's a portal. He highlights the sun meeting Uranus in the 6th house on May 17th. Uranus means surprises, breakthroughs.
Right. And in the sixth house of daily life, so Lorenzo sees this as signaling a potentially radical break from the norm.
Like shaking things up.
Exactly. Big shifts possibly in health, your schedule, your work.
Yeah.
Because, he says, the current reality has just become too small for where Sagittarius needs to go.
Interesting. Then the sun moves into Gemini on the 20th, shifting focus to the seventh house partnerships.
And Lorenzo notes it makes a supportive angle, a sextile, to Saturn over in Aries. He sees this as a time when relationship patterns start to solidify, but, and this is a big but from him.
There's always a condition with this kind of energy, isn't there?
Always. He says they'll only solidify if they're real, if they're authentic.
He calls it the rise of sacred mirrors. Could be lovers, collaborators, clients.
Yes, soulmates even. But he gives a very clear warning. Only the connections reflecting your actual truth, not some fantasy you've built up, will make it through this portal.
Okay, that's potent. Week 4, May 21st and 27th. Your words become a mirror spell. Lorenzo points to something he calls a rare prophetic architecture here.
Yeah, when Lorenzo uses language like that, you really pay attention. He's not one for hyperbole unless it's warranted.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
So what is this architecture?
It's the Sun and Mercury, both in Gemini, making a beautiful trine to Pluto down in the third house, and also a helpful sextile to Saturn and Neptune together in Aries.
Wow, that sounds like it connects a lot of dots.
It really does. He says it activates the third house of mind and voice, the fifth of creativity and joy, and the seventh of partnerships. It's like this supercharged circuit for communication, creation, and connection.
So what's the effect?
Lorenzo says the Sag voice becomes magnetic, their wisdom carries real weight, but here comes the warning again.
Knew it's coming.
Yeah. He says, if you keep preaching what you're afraid to live, you'll lose your own reflection. It's all about walking the talk. Integrity.
So what should Saves do during this week?
He gets specific. Sign contracts that feel soul-aligned. Launch that platform or project. And either call in or confront the relationships that are mirroring back truths you've been dodging.
It sounds like a week for courageous authenticity.
Absolutely. Bold communication. Then we hit the final days, May 28th to 31st. Title, you don't want a partner, you want a mirror that doesn't lie.
Ooh, direct.
Isn't it? There's a new moon in Gemini on the 28th, back in that seventh house of partnerships. Lorenzo notes it's right next to Mercury, making good angles to Saturn, Neptune, and Pluto. Looks very fertile for relationship beginning.
But knowing Lorenzo, it's probably not just about romance, right?
Exactly. He sees this less as just a love story starting and more as the potential for a truly sacred alliance, a destiny collaboration.
Okay.
He says the focus shifts from like distracting passion to connections that actually refine you, reflect you accurately, and reignite your inner truth.
It's about depth, not just sparks.
Precisely. And he mentions the Sun conjunct Mercury on the 30th, doubling down on that communication theme. Lorenzo believes that truth declared aloud now literally reshapes fate.
So speak it out.
Yeah, his advice is blunt. Say it, post it, publish it, mean it.
Okay, now Lorenzo includes this section he calls the wow moment everyone missed. What's that about?
Well, he points out that while lots of astrology might focus on the seventh house partnership stuff for Sag in May.
Which makes sense with the sun and new moon there.
Right. But Lorenzo says the real kicker, the potentially dangerous truth, isn't about relationships. It's about who you are when nobody's looking, when you're totally alone.
The inner world.
Exactly. And he connects this to Saturn, the planet of discipline and reality checks, moving into Aries and the fifth house on May 26th. The fifth house is usually joy, creativity, self-expression.
So Saturn moving in there sounds serious.
Lorenzo frames it as soul accountability. Accountability for how you've used or maybe misused your own inner light, your creative fire.
Wow.
He says, point blank, you don't get to inspire the world if you're still lying to yourself. It's a huge call for integrity.
That's intense. What does that mean going forward?
He lays it out. From now on, joy has to be earned through honesty. Love has to be sacred. Creativity needs real purpose. And your voice must match your inner vibration.
It's like a total recalibration.
It is. And he sums it up with this line that just like, wow. This is the end of Sag the Guru. This is the rise of Sag the Sacred Channel.
Whoa, that's a shift. He also shares some really potent quotes around this, right?
Oh, yeah. They're powerful. May 2025. Sagittarius doesn't expand. Sagittarius awakens from their own illusion. Your next soulmate is your shadow.
Heavy.
Your words are spells now. Speak as if the gods are listening.
Okay.
You don't need more wisdom. You need more truth. And This isn't about being right. It's about being real.
Just soak those in for a moment. Wow. Then he has another section called just the wow moment.
Yeah, he kind of circles back to emphasize this core point. May 2025 is Sagittarius's last chance saloon to stop mistaking enlightenment or big ideas for genuine escape, to stop running from themselves.
And he gives another stark warning here.
He does. If you don't face the mirror now, the mirror will shatter you later. He really pushes back against seeing this just as a relationship month. He argues true connection can only happen when Sag stops fleeing their own reflection.
And he doesn't mince words about it.
Not at all. He says, you've spent years preaching expansion to others while quietly fleeing from your own truth. It's a direct challenge for deep self-honesty.
Okay, next Lorenzo talks about the cosmic trap. He revisits that April 28th new moon and its challenging aspects.
Right. And his twist is that it's not necessarily straightforward transformation fuel. He calls it a potential trap door.
A trapdoor. To where?
Back into buried beliefs, secret fears, old karmic patterns, especially if you're not fully conscious of what's happening.
So it requires awareness.
Deep awareness. And he adds this chilling nuance. The mind itself, for Sagittarius, might have become the most convincing prison.
How so?
He suggests that spiritual language, big ideas, even sharing wisdom, can sometimes be used, maybe unconsciously, as shields, protecting them from a raw, uncomfortable personal truth.
Wow. That's a subtle but profound point.
Isn't it? He says, you haven't lived what you've preached. You've intellectualized pain you never metabolized. You've romanticized truth that still terrifies you. And May 2025 is a reckoning.
That is incredibly direct. No wiggle room there.
None. Then, under the real event, he looks again at Saturn entering the 5th house.
Right, the accountability piece.
Yes. Yeah, and he refines it. It's not just about being disciplined in your creativity. It's specifically about accountability for abandoned joy, for truths avoided in your creative expression or search for validation.
So the why behind the creativity matters immensely.
Exactly. And the condition for real inspiration going forward, your voice, your output, has to be earned through that deep self-awareness and truthfulness.
He calls it consecrating your fire, bringing sacredness to your passion.
From here on, passion needs to serve something bigger than ego. Words have to match your true vibration. Joy needs to come from embodiment, not escape.
It's a fundamental shift in orientation.
Totally. Then, in Here's What Most Will Never See, Lorenzo highlights what he calls a soul-cleansing trilogy.
Okay, what's the trilogy?
It's that 12th house full moon on May 13th, Pluto's retrograde in the 3rd house, and the 7th house new moon on May 28th. He sees this sequence as confess, communicate, commit.
Confess, communicate, commit. Okay, but there are conditions, right, for it to work.
Of course. Condition 1, confess the truth you've been hiding even from yourself. Condition 2, communicate that raw truth to those who deserve that level of vulnerability. Condition 3, commit to actually living the life your higher self truly wants.
And if you don't do that, if you avoid it,
he warns you'll just keep attracting partners, clients, followers who mirror the exact lie you're still clinging to. The cycle just continues.
until the inner work gets done.
Precisely. And then Lorenzo delivers his final mic drop. 2 killer quotes to end on.
Let's hear them.
First, this isn't about who you'll love next. It's about whether you can love yourself after seeing the truth of who you really are.
Wow, that lands hard.
Right. And second, May 2025 isn't your soul connection, it's your soul correction.
Soul correction. Okay.
Powerful stuff.
Well, that was Lorenzo's complete May 2025 forecast for Sagittarius. It's undeniably deep. Really profound themes in there.
It really is. And having known Lorenzo as long as we have, this level of depth, this directness, it's just him. It's how he sees things.
Absolutely. And as you heard, the overwhelming focus is just radical self-reflection, courage, facing your own truth instead of looking outside or running away.
No more escaping into ideas. It's about embodiment.
So, whether you're a Sagittarius or not, I think there's such a potent message here for all of us.
Definitely.
Think about the mirrors showing up in your own life right now. What truths might they be reflecting back? And, what could you discover by really bravely confronting your own shadow, as Lorenzo puts it?
Yeah, it definitely gives you a lot to chew on, regardless of your sign. That call for honesty, for authenticity, it's universal.
It really is something important to contemplate for sure.